Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last session of the day. After this, we can all go out for a nice dinner and then maybe attend one of the nice pubs and other establishments here in Boston, right? Right? Of course, most of us will just skip dinner. I know how we all are here. My name is Ben Brodigam. I manage the Advanced Learning Projects Group within Education Technology Services at Penn State. I'm joined by my colleague, Mr. Saul.
Hello. Yes, my name is Sherwin Saul, as Ben said, and I'm one of, the lead programmer in ALP, Advanced Learning Projects.
So what we wanted to talk about this afternoon was a solution we built at Penn State that we believe really redefines how our students and faculty create video. And rather than worrying about all kinds of different technology and setting it up, we wanted to provide a solution that focused on the user experience, so the students and faculty can focus on their content. And we call that solution the One Button Studio. But before we get into that, we want to talk about where we came from. So this might look familiar to some of you. This is the traditional studio right on your campus. This is one from Penn State. Students were able to check out or sign out this equipment if they had a video project. You can see they have a nice lighting kit here. Of course, they'll need to actually know how to set those lights up and use them appropriately. There's a nice HD camera. Of course, they'll need to actually know how to use that. There's lots of buttons, there's lots of settings, lots of room for error. There's a microphone. Of course, they'll need to know how to adjust those audio levels, right, to match the space they're in. And there's a neutral background, or there's a green screen they can roll down, assuming that their lighting is appropriate for a green screen setup. But, I don't think, of course, when they're done that, they're going to be able to have to get that file off that camera and into their computer, into a format that makes sense. Right? So when I'm describing this image, I don't think anywhere did I mention content, or I didn't mention learning objectives, right? Because the focus was on the technology. We need to shift that. There needs to be a shift happening. Because if the focus becomes the technology itself, then I think we failed. We need to build solutions that enhance teaching and learning, that enrich content, not distract from it. This is the One Button Studio. When people see this image, sometimes they say, hey, that just looks like an empty room. And that's exactly what we were hoping for. We want to provide a studio that when you walk in, you already know how to use it, even if it's the first time. This is another view here. This is a student presenting to classmates in the One Button Studio using slides. And you'll notice that everything's off the ground. There's nothing on the floor in a One Button Studio. There's no cables, there's no tripods, there's nothing to get in the way. The lights are mounted from the ceiling. The camera, the microphone, the projector is all mounted from the wall or the ceiling. They don't have to touch any of it. In fact, the only user interface elements in a One Button Studio are a USB hub and the button. So when you walk into the studio, you need your thumb drive. This is your ignition key. So when you walk, welcome, thank you. When you walk in, you just dock this thumb drive. That immediately turns the lights on, starts up the camera, gives you a live preview, and you're ready to go. Then when you're ready to record, you just simply push the button. You get a 5-second countdown, and you start recording. When you're done, you just push the button again. The system compiles the video, compresses it, puts it in an MP4 format, and puts it right in your flash drive. When you yank the drive, everything turns off, resets for the next user. This is a self-service learning space. No guidance, no tech support, no manuals, nothing needed. So we have several of these installed at Penn State, and one of the things that came up as a pain point was the actual time and cost of mounting the equipment on the wall and on the ceiling. So we worked with a local corporate furniture company, actually, to build a custom kiosk for the One Button Studio. This allows us to mount the projector, the camera, the microphone, all the components into a neat cabinet at a fraction of the cost and time. So the goal here again was to simplify. The One Button Studio cuts the traditional model in half. There's no need to worry about setting up the lights or the microphone or the camera. There's no need to move the file from the camera to your computer. to review it, to compress it, to put it in the right format. It does all that for you. It's a level of automation in place so that the focus can be, again, on the content and on the learning objectives rather than the technology itself. So rather than just talk about this, we actually set up a small studio right here. We have a nice backdrop. We have a light. And we're going to try to demo it for you, assuming the demo gods are listening to me. Give me one moment. I'm just going to switch the input here. So this is the software. This is what a user sees when they walk into the studio. This is the interface. It's a kiosk again, very simple. All you do is just take your thumb drive and you dock it. That turns on the light automatically. The preview starts. Sherwin's there. You can get positioned, and then all you need to do is just press the button. You get a 5-second countdown, and you're recording. It's that simple. I didn't need to set anything up. I didn't need to touch anything. Sure. Nice backdrop here. So this is where our main use case in the One Button Studio is presentation practice. Students are able to present or practice their presentations in an environment that's comfortable and just easy to use. So when you're done, just push the button again. It writes the file, moves it to the flash drive, and you're done. Now I have a couple options here. I can either remove the drive right away and leave if I'm done, or I can do another take. But I'm just going to yank it for right now. Notice the light turned off, the system reset, ready for the next user. If you want to move aside. I want to show you again. Now this isn't in the production app yet, but we've been working on a way to automate the green screen solution. So rather than pull down an actual separate green screen, we've actually combined a neutral backdrop here, which you can see, with some LED technology to provide an automated green screen solution. So what would happen, I'm just going to dock this drive again. The light will turn on. And then if I want a green screen, boom. Instant green screen. So what's happening here is this fabric on the back is not only a neutral backdrop, but it has glass beads in the fabric, which reflect light right back to its source. So on the camera, I have an LED ring that's just shining green LEDs. So that fabric is just reflecting it right back to the source. Now, you can see some of the creases in the preview, but when you actually add a background in post-production, that's completely keyed out 100%. It's gorgeous, and it allows us to provide a dual system without any additional needs. I'm just going to turn that off. And since we're done, I'm just going to remove the drive, and it's going to go back to. So that is the One Button Studio in a very small, concise demo. So I'd like Sherwin to just talk about what's actually happening behind the scenes. It all seems so easy, but there's a lot of complexity happening here. So Sherwin?
All right. 1, 2. Okay, there you go. So as Ben said, you just take your USB stick and you stick it in the USB thingamabob. And what's actually going on behind the scenes is OBS is identifying that, that USB stick as the newest volume added to the computer. And once that's been done, lights fire, audio is already set up, and you get a live preview. Now that live preview is brought to you through an H.264 box. That's a box that takes that spits out H.264 compressed video. But it's actually coming through as packets. So I'm grabbing those now packets and decompressing them and decoding them and appending them to a file. And that's being done through QuickTime's framework. Now, Apple is very funny because they like to deprecate frameworks in favor of new frameworks. So they've actually deprecated the QuickTime framework. So this will still work if anybody uses it. But they've deprecated QuickTime's framework in favor of a framework called AV Foundations. And within AV Foundations, there's actually a sub-framework, which is called Video Toolbox. And Video Toolbox is what we're going to be using in later iterations of OBS to do the decompression and decoding. As a matter of fact, we actually have OBS working with the newer frameworks. So that's to come. Anyway, once that happens, you press the button. As a matter of fact, one other thing. After these packets are processed, then what you see when you saw the preview is actually the use of another framework called OpenGL. And that takes that information and writes it to the screen as you see it. So again, you press the button. Another stream of packets is then saved, which are transport stream packets. We can say TS packets. And that's appended to a file. That file just keeps appending as you're recording. Once you press the button one more time, that file stops appending. That video data is put into something we call a container, which for your purposes you can just say is an MP4 file. And that MP4 file is ready for Vimeo or YouTube or whatever you'd like to do. It'll play on basically any media player. At this time, the video is still local on the machine. And I have some routines and algorithms, well, not algorithms, just some routines that just grabs that information and puts it on the USB stick. As a matter of fact, the time it takes for a user to like wait for their video to be finished is really more about the time, the copying time from the system to the USB stick, and less about any encoding or decoding or anything like that. Everything is basically real time. Again, going from that TS file to that MP4 file is a process called a pass-through process. It's very quick. Once that happens, you get back to that area where you have the choice either to go through the whole pressing of the button again and the countdown, or you can just pop the USB stick out and the lights go down, the system is reset, and that's basically it. Now, I did kind of go over some technical things. There's other technical things going on. If any of you are nerds like myself, you can ask questions toward the end and I'll answer as best as I can. But that's basically what's going on behind the scenes.
So we've obviously had a lot of success with this. We have over 12 studios in installation at Penn State now, and a lot of university partners outside of Penn State that want this. So we needed to find a way to distribute the One Button Studio in a way that made sense to allow our partners to have it at their institution. So through this Mac app that we developed, we were able to compile it and publish it to the Mac App Store. So it's actually up there right now. The software for the OBS is actually on the Mac App Store, available for free from Penn State. And the only thing you need aside from that is the actual hardware, which is all off the shelf. B&H loves us at Penn State, and they'll love you too. It's all can happen through one order from B&H. It's all off-the-shelf hardware. It's just the software that makes that magic happen. So the big question is, how much does it cost? Again, the software side we've made available for free. The hardware really breaks down to this. You know, your average studio, and in this example, this includes presentation practice, so a projector and then a computer to load those slides. It's just over $7,000. So your lights, and that includes, you know, obviously the lighting in a real studio is much better than that little thing there. So you have large LED lights that are mounted to the ceiling, and then the automation tools that are needed to make those go on and off by themselves. Computer needs, so the whole system's run via a Mac Mini that's in a cabinet. And then the only UI again is that the hub and the button. There's no keyboard or mouse or anything like that. It's all kiosk mode. The camera, for most of our studios, we use an HD Canon for $300, but it's really whatever camera you'd like to use. And as long as it has HDMI out, you can use it in the one-button studio. Really versatile. And then any mounting equipment, audio for the microphone, things like that, and then your presentation needs. So what we've done is set up onebutton.psu.edu is our site. If you do /setup, you can get our official equipment guide, which has links to all this equipment, and as well as an iBook that takes you through the setup of a one-button studio at your own campus. But it all comes down to outcomes. Does this thing actually work? And it turns out it does. In the last 2 academic years at Penn State, and this is just our main University Park campus, we've had 8,874 users come through 2 studios. That equates to, per year, over 10% of our main campus student body through 2 rooms. That's over 4,000 students and faculty per year. We're very proud of that, and that equates to, from the usage side, over 13,700 videos being created through 2 rooms, and over 650 total hours of footage. So those are our outcomes that we're very proud of, and we're looking forward to working with other universities in the future to get them set up at their own institution. We've actually set up a Yammer network that we'll invite you to if you'd like to learn more and threaded discussion with other universities about how their installations are going. And then the beauty of distributing the app through the Mac App Store is when we make improvements, when we add features, we can just push them out to everybody. Like this green screen solution I mentioned, it'll all be automated. So when you dock your thumb drive, rather than the lights going on right away, you'll actually have to be able to choose your video type, neutral, presentation, or green screen. And when you choose green screen, that magic will happen right there. So again, the app is available in the App Store. Our Yammer group's available. If you'd like to join that, just send a note to onebutton@psu.edu, and we'll continue this discussion. We like to leave a big chunk of time for questions at these presentations because this is new and exciting. So please. We'll start there. I saw your hand first.
So I noticed that you have the presentation. I noticed that you have a setup for the presentation to be recorded at the same time. How do you manage the kind of different lighting requirements for a projected screen and a person?
So what happens is when we set up a studio, it's specific to the space. So we light the studio, could be 3, 4, even 5 lights, depending on the actual space that the studio is being installed. So, and if you choose a room with presentation practice with a projector, the lighting accommodates both of those use cases. Yes?
Is it in a standard space? There's no portable version? Or, in other words, how big does the studio have to be? You said you have 12 of them. Is it a standard?
It ranges. I think our smallest OBS is like 8 by 10. In fact, some of them are dual purpose. Since there's nothing on the floor, it can be a conference room too, and we just push the table out of the way when you want to record a video. And again, you can light the studio based on that specific space. Yes, in the back.
How much scalability? You have a bigger classroom, how would that accommodate your audio? So there must be some scalability in terms of the type of audio.
Right. So if the space is large like this one, and you want to put a one-button studio in it, you'd just get a microphone that would make sense for that space. And we use I'm not sure the specific brand, but it's a shotgun microphone pointed, and we direct it towards where the subject stands most of the time. So, and what we've done is we have tape on the floors of our studios that suggests where the subject should stand for presentation mode, or if you don't have any slides, you stand in this area. And that gives you the best audio.
For live, for recording, how about the presentation? I know you got talking here, and I can, typical user looking at that recording and really see the PowerPoint presentation as a professional.
Yes. So the camera does pick up the presentation or the projector image really well. In fact, it's even better with this fabric because we position the projector really close to the camera, and the light from the projector goes right back. It reflects from the fabric right back to the source, so it looks like it's a newscast, like it's digitally there. So we've had great luck with that. Yes?
What's the name of the
This is Reflect Media. They sell the Chromat fabric with the light ring, and they have adapters for any kind of camera you want to use. We've just built in the software the ability to automate that, to turn it on and off. What's that? Yeah, B&H carries this. That's who we primarily buy from. Yep.
With the LED rings, does it automatically adjust the greens? So no, those rings can adjust the greens and blues to
Right to the range.
Does it automatically do that, or you just set it at like a?
So when the studio's initially set up, we set it what's best for the space. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't cover the fringe cases, but 95%. Yeah.
Just repeat the questions.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. He asked about adjusting the light ring strength, the strength of the LEDs. Yes.
Camera control, are you going to consider that in the future? Or?
So we're exploring multiple options with cameras. We're exploring a multi-camera one-button studio with a mobile component, so you can, on demand, change what camera you want to film. So yeah, that's something we're definitely interested in. Yeah, right behind, yep. Right. Great question. Right. So most of our students do bring their own, but we have a unit at Penn State called the Media Commons, which is a great media service unit, and they manage some of our studios, and they provide students, if they forgot their thumb drive, they have some loaners there. But as far as size, that's an important point I want to get to. The studio does some checks as soon as you dock that thumb drive. It won't allow you to record a video if you don't have 500 megs free. We found 500 megs covers the average video length in our studio, so that's what we've standardized on. It'll say, you don't have enough room, please remove data before you can continue. Your hand up was first. Yeah, I'm trying to. Right. So good question. So what will happen is the full video will be on the system. It'll be in the Mac Mini. It'll throw an alert and say it wasn't copied. So what will happen is the studio manager, whoever's overseeing the studio, can go in manually and pull that large file off. But it will record as long as you want, as long as your flash drive can handle it. Yes?
How does that work in the kiosk? Do you have somebody managing the kiosk and being alerted?
So it really depends on what you want to do. Again, most of our studios are managed by the Media Commons, so there's always someone there or a help desk nearby that they can go to, but that rarely happens. Yes, behind.
How do you watch it if you wanted to view the clip after you just recorded it?
Good question. So in the studio, you have the preview monitor, and then if you have a projector, you'll have a computer to load those slides onto. So you can just take your drive and put it in that presentation computer if you want to preview or do another take or something like that. Yes?
Do you have data on what kinds of presentations faculty members in particular are creating and what they're looking for, say like a
Right.
flip classroom model or some other sort of engagement like that?
Yep, so primarily they're lecturettes. For putting lectures for online courses is a big use case for us. Classroom flipping, another one. We actually find that some graduate students are using the studio to prepare for their dissertations. So that's another use case in that area. Yes?
Does the system do the closed captioning?
It depends on what system you put the actual video on. So if you put it on YouTube, it'll do the closed captioning, but natively OBS does not do any captioning at this point. Yes?
In order to all these things happen at the same time, when you press the button for the first time, you need some kind of automation. How does the system manage turning on the
Right.
lights?
Sure. So the app does all of that for you. The lighting are actually controlled by Insteon smart home boxes. Is all that is. So they're the boxes you plug into an outlet that you can control via your mobile phone or anything like that. So the system sends those scripts to the respective lights, which turn them on. For the video feed, the app has the Blackmagic SDK in, which Sherwin spent many an hour poring over to get that to work appropriately. So that's where that level of automation. Yeah.
But we don't need to, like, once we get your app,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to kind of tweak any of that. Like, it's embedded.
It's all in the app. Yeah, the only computer things you'll have to do are some like adjusting sleep settings. The button actually works. This is a Griffin PowerMate button. So you'll have to download the PowerMate free software, and basically this button just pushes the space bar. I'll let you all in on a little secret. This just pushes the space bar. So
Just one quick thing too. I mean, any of those extra small configurations are in the, I believe they're in the iBook.
yes.
Right. So the documentation is very thorough.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And then. Good question. So we, most of our studios, we position the camera so person of average height is perfect, or you can use stools for interviews. Or you can, we have a faculty studio we just launched where we can do some more intricate things as far as multi-camera, things like that. Yeah, you had a question, and then
All of them the same, or do you have a Cadillac version, or you know what I mean?
right.
Showcase, one?
Right now, the faculty One Button Studio is primarily our Cadillac OBS. We're doing some things there. It's also our development studio, so we're able to test out new features and things. If anyone's heard of Northwestern's Lightboard, we're experimenting with that technology. So feel free to Google that. We're going to be automating the Lightboard. So basically, math professors can write on this big sheet of glass in the One Button Studio, and it looks like they're writing on air in the video, and the software flips it, so the text is actually running the right way when you watch. It's pretty neat stuff. And there was a question over here. Yeah. So an OBS in the classroom, we've had that. We have to be careful with this. We get a lot of feature creep. We have to be careful with feature creep with the One Button Studio because it's so simple. We don't want to lose that. But it would certainly be possible. So you push a button on the podium when you start class and push it again when you're done. You could certainly retrofit the studio to do that. It's just not our main use case, I guess, right now. But that's a good idea. Yes?
Do you have traditional studios as well? And have you noticed that faculty choose to use the One Button Studio over the traditional studio?
So one of the proudest moments for me was listening to a faculty member say that they had never included video creation in their course before the One Button Studio. They'd never even thought about it. And this technology enabled them to do that. So yes, if there's One Button Studio available, they tend to. Our colleges, the main issue with setting up their One Button Studios is they don't have a space. That's the main problem. Cost is fine. People want it, the need is there, but they just don't have the actual physical space. So, in the back? Multiple takes are separate files per take. Yeah. So when you record and when you push the button a second time, it copies the file. If you were to push the button again, that would start your second take. And when you push it again, that would put that second file on the device. They are separate takes. Yeah. There was a question.
I have a question.
Sure.
If you did a take and then you did another take and then you pulled the flash drive out, how do you know the names of which was which take?
They're all time-stamped. The file name is actually time-stamped.
So that's the naming convention, time, like hour, day,
Yes. I believe it's
OBS.
year, month.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's underscore OBS year, month, day. I think actually even down to the second.
.mp4. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. That's just the I guess the template we use for having the system name them.
So let me just jump in here for a quick second. So I think you spoke about it before, but if something should happen on the machine, you'll see all those files. And so if someone comes in and says, hey, I thought I got my file, when I got back to wherever I went to, it wasn't there. If you give them like a rough time, they can figure out which file it is, as opposed to looking through all the different files to figure out which one was yours.
Right. Especially if your studio is managed by a schedule You can say I was there between 2 and 3. They'll just give you all the files from that time period. Yes?
So what's the reliability? I mean, does that happen often where they thought they had a file and then, or how often do they push the button and something?
So the biggest problem we've had with this One Button Studio is the USB hub going bad because of the contacts wear from overuse. That's the biggest problem we've had. So we've just had to have a drawer full of USB hubs so that the people can just swap them out if there's an issue. But very, very rare. And we've done a lot of error checking in the app, so if something like that does happen, you get an alert. And in future versions, we hope that the studio administrator will be able to customize those alerts to point students to a specific email address or phone number or something like that for the individual institution.
And just to echo that, again, it hardly happens if it does. And part of all of that error checking, I write an MP4 file. The TS file is also there. There's actually an MP3 file to capture the audio as well. And there are other algorithms that are in the application to change the type of encoding from that TS file to an MP4 file. So if something doesn't work, there's 2 or 3 other things being done after that that'll get you your file.
So it's not like you can also get high quality versions to use it?
So that TS file and that MP4 file, the quality is on par with each other. They're all just high quality files. Again, there's some nerd stuff that I can tell you about, like the bit rates and things of that nature, but they're high quality files.
Is it a mobile Unix? In particular, flash from office to office? Mobile?
Not right now. I'll just say that. Not right now. Yeah. Right now, it does need a physical space for all the infrastructure to be installed. Yes, and then in the back. Good.
There's any editing that has to be done, what do you recommend?
We use mainly iMovie for post-production. Our students use that. Yeah. Yep. Anything. It's an MP4, so your LMS, your CMS will take it. Any editor, it's very, very reliable.
So again, from our perspective, we're just providing you with the MP4. What you do with it after that is, it's on you. But that MP4 format is basically able to be opened in any media formatting tool, or editing tool, I should say.
There's a question in the back. Yeah.
Is it used just in studio spaces, or have you had demand for instructors who wanted to use it in a classroom environment?
It's been talked about, like, wouldn't it be great if, but we haven't had any faculty say, I'd want this in a classroom yet. That's still an option we're looking at, but we haven't had any need for that yet. Yeah.
Are you showcasing any of them on your website or anything? Exactly.
The actual videos? Yeah, we have photos and multiple videos on onebutton.psu.edu. Yep. In the back.
Has it been used to kind of record teleconferencing or video conferencing or anything like that?
Not yet. Again, that was something that was asked, but it's like that feature creep. We don't want to make it the 3-button studio. We really don't. But it's certainly a good idea.
The question to that is to be able to control it through voice depending on the cameras.
Yes. So we are looking at alternative ways of controlling the studio. Yes.
So again, just to add, we keep talking about simplicity. That's part of the philosophy of how we develop, period, but specifically for OBS. We are very, very cognizant of that feature creep. We can make this the killer app that no one uses, right? Or we can make this a very simple app that even if you have apprehension to technology, you'll want to use it. So dealing with that balance is an important thing. But we get a lot of those feature creep things.
There's already full-fledged things out there. This is a whole different demographic
Right.
we're going after. Hello? Okay. I was saying that there's already so many full-fledged video systems out there. This would fit into a nice demographic where you wouldn't need or have necessarily an operator and something like that. This is, I see the benefit of being the quick and dirty solution to get a very high quality, nice, pretty professionally looking thing. So.
Yeah. Annie?
Well, I was
I figured you were going to make me do that. So I'm at Penn State, and I run a learning design unit for online teaching and learning. And I just texted our assistant director. It's not like I haven't known about this for a really long time. And suddenly the light bulb went off for exactly that reason. We just hired a new, we had to refill our videographer position. We've got this amazing guy coming in who can do all the fancy stuff, but I'm still sitting here texting our assistant director saying, you know, we really should talk about getting an OBS so that the faculty who don't want to go the fancy route
Right.
can have this great, simple option. So I definitely think there's room for both.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I actually came to this presentation because of that. I'm the manager of the Media Lab at my university, University of New Brunswick in Canada. And actually,
Yeah, it's
One? Yeah. So in my university, the problem we have is that, I got to this position because I'm a filmmaker by profession, and I work with the National Broadcasting Corporation in Canada, and we have all those ultra pro tools that will do a fantastic job, but it takes 15 days to shoot the video that you end up seeing in television. What I think is brilliant about this is the fact that this could be the way we can win and really sell the advantages of video in the classroom, or video for blended learning, or video for your LMS, to the English Lit professors, to the arts professors that want to show just how they kind of draw and how but they are extremely averse to the technology, and the anthropology professor that is looking for a specialized way of showing something, or showing an anthropological film, plus an explanation, without knowing or without being interested in knowing and learning about the background technology. Right. They don't want to be video editors, they don't want to be filmmakers, and I think we should respect that. I welcome your solution.
Thank you. We should have let you all present. Are there any other questions? Well, again, onebutton.psu.edu, that's copies the entire team. So if you have any questions, again, please feel free. If you want to get added to our Yammer group to continue this discussion, we'll gladly have you. And again, the Mac app is on the App Store, so please check that out. Obviously, it won't work on your laptop, but you can open it and see how it looks. So thank you very much.